Welcome back to the pregame show here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. I'm Sean Myers, now joined by the head coach of Greensburg Salem, Dave Keefer. Coach, obviously week one did not go the way you wanted it to, a loss to the Plum Mustangs. You came up short in pursuit of win number 700. For you, what were the biggest takeaways from that loss?
Well, Sean, it was disappointing. Obviously, we felt it was a game we had the opportunity to win, but I was also understanding that they were returning a very experienced group. So, I did see a lot of good things. The encouraging thing that I saw, is we have a young group of players this year. We're really right now running 4 seniors onto the field on a Friday night. So I was very encouraged with their enthusiasm and their energy to play the game. That remained pretty consistent throughout the course of the game. I saw some good things from some young guys that haven't been put on Friday night situations. Some of these guys performed very well, as we know they have the ability to do so. Now it's about establishing the consistency. So, there was obviously a major disappointment in the fact that we weren't able to secure that next victory. But also, you kind of went away from it feeling a little bit, feeling pretty good about yourself, knowing that you have a good core group, and it's one of those challenges that you really always look forward to as a coach to get them better from one week to the next. So that's kind of where we saw it after the game, and I told the guys, disappointed we lost, not mad, because I thought it was a very, very good effort on our part. Just made too many mistakes, so we got to clean those things up this week.
The quarterback position always under the spotlight, and you have a new starter in Hayden Tesco taking over for a multi-year starter in Trent Patrick. How did Hayden perform? He performed like it was his first Friday night football game. Hayden's a competitor. The one thing I liked what I saw from him was the stage wasn't too big for Hayden. There wasn't as much pressure because there was no stands, no people in the stands, but, the moment wasn't too big for him. Hayden he's a competitor. He had some issues at times where he pressed. He'll have a tendency periodically to overgrip the ball and overstride in his throw. His side, in his defense, he ended up 6 of 25, not what we want, made a couple bad throws. But we also know we got a young guy that missed his freshman year due to a broken ankle, and he missed last year due to a broken collarbone. So we know there's growth there, but we saw a lot of good things, made a couple good throws. Unfortunately, we had 6 drops. When I classify drops, they're balls that should have been very easily received by a receiver. So, he wasn't happy with how he played. We would like to have seen him play better, but we're also realistic that he's a young man that's learning. So we have to be patient with that and keep working with it. You have some experience and certainly some talent in the trenches, and it seems like that should be one of the strengths of this team. Did it kind of play out that way against Plum?
I think they did a nice job. They had the right idea. They have 2 big kids. One kid's a Miami of Ohio commitment. Big physical-bodied kid, and they had played in the scrimmage. They had played a tackle, and I thought they did a good job, and they moved them into the inside on offense, and I thought they challenged us up front. It's not like they have bad people up front. So I didn't think it played out necessarily as well as it could have. I thought they tested us quite well at a couple of different spots, but I do think we were efficient at running the football when we needed to run the football. Just think we need to be able to be a little bit cleaner in the passing area, which is kind of an understood when you have, again, a junior quarterback, 2 sophomore receivers, and 2 junior receivers. And even at times we have 3 sophomores running on as wide receivers. So we know there's going to be learning involved here. I thought we did fairly well in the trenches. I think we have the ability to be even better. But again, we have a couple of starters that we lost due to transfers and people who chose to leave the program. So, we have a couple young guys we're breaking in that did a pretty good job. I was fairly pleased with their first time on a Friday.
Talking to Dave Keefer, the head coach of Greensburg Salem here on the Westmoreland Sports Network's pregame show. It seemed like special teams played a major factor in that loss against Plum. The Mustangs making a couple of plays and maybe some mistakes on your side. How do you make sure you clean up an area where maybe you just don't get as many reps as on offense and defense with this truncated season?
Yeah, I think that's tough, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's trying to allocate time within your practice frame to make sure you get the reps you need. And, I think that's where Plum brought in, a tremendous advantage over us last week, and I was concerned about that going into the game, and I talked to a number of different people that they were experienced. They had 8 or 9 guys coming back on both sides of the ball last week, and we had 7 or 8 guys coming
new to the field on a Friday night. So, we really were trying to be diligent. We worked each of those components. The special teams, as far as the kickoff, it was a mistake, but we had bodies there to make the play. And it's just a matter of sometimes for these young guys to see it on film and see what they did not do well and then learn from those experiences. So we didn't cover the kickoff poor. We just didn't tackle well on the kickoff. And we got to clean up our extra point field goals, so we set time aside on that, and our punt team has to definitely improve. We know that's a concern of ours, so we spend a lot of time on that. So it's just trying to, like I keep saying, improve and learn and teach, and that's the challenge of us as a coach, and it's the exciting part of a coach, but it's finding the time when you're working on a limited time schedule for your players.
Turning the page to this week, you go against the Knock Knights, and I know that it's pretty much an entirely new section for Greensburg Salem. So what do you know about Knock, and what will be key to have success against them?
Well, we were a little familiar with Knock because, we took a look at some film last year getting ready to go into the playoffs and kind of, not that you peek ahead, but you try to have a little bit of an idea of what your opponents are going to be going into the playoffs. And we did take a pretty good look at Knock and had a familiarity with them. They run a triple option system. They run midline. They run triple. Pretty much that's what they run. They don't get real crazy offensively. They're Knock kids, man. I really respected them. I can remember when Mike King was there. It was the first game I coached, the first team we coached against as a head coach. And, I said to Mike King how much I respect their kids because they are really hard-nosed, blue-collar kind of kids. So they played, even this year, I think they lost 18 seniors. So we knew last year when we looked at them, they had a very senior-laden team comparable to us. So I think they graduated 18. The Goodland kid was an excellent player. Really made them go, but they kind of struggled a little bit to find their feet after they lost him to an injury. I think it was week 5 or 6. So, they're very comparable to us in a lot of ways because I think they got a lot of new starters coming into the lineup. So I think it's a good matchup for us this week. I think they have some young guys that are learning to play. I think they have some guys that just didn't get quite as many reps because there were so many seniors on the field last year. But they play very good defense in terms of taking the run away from you. They challenge you to pass the football. They run an odd stack defense, and they like to bring pressure at us. So we know what we're going into. We've worked really hard on trying to prepare for it, but we got to see the transition and the learning curve be reduced this week, for us to turn our season and move in the right direction.
Final thing for you, Coach. I know that things are a little different without the fan support actually at the games, but I know for the community and for everyone involved with Greensburg Salem, the number 700 has been looming large. I'm sure you would love to get it out of the way so you don't have to keep answering this question, but how much of a focus is that, and what will it mean when you ultimately capture that milestone?
Well, and I think, I've talked to different people, and I think I think it's, the kids see it, the kids know it, it's very valuable to the kids. But in the grand scheme of things, our kids are looking from one week to the next to winning as many football games as they can. And I think that's important. We're trying to get guys to have a successful, fun, enjoyable season, and winning makes it a lot more enjoyable. But from the grand scheme of things, our guys also know that number's hanging $6.99, and they want to turn it as well as anybody else. And they recognize the commitment to our football program. So they are very, very much possessed an intent to want to turn that number and get us on to 700 and put that behind us and continue to move forward with our season.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.
That's Dave Keefer of Greensburg Salem. We'll take a quick break and continue our pregame show here on the Westmoreland Sports Network.